Welcome to another episode of Whoniverse Database. The Doctor Who universe is the biggest and most expansive universe in any fictional franchise ever, and you can't change my mind, so I thought it was about time I covered something from outside Doctor Who itself. In this video we'll be covering a Torchwood topic. Torchwood is part of the Whoniverse after all. Specifically, I'll be checking out the Series 4 story arc Miracle Day. A controversial series, but you have to admit it's at least an interesting premise, so here we go. On the 19th/20th of March 2011, the Three Families organisation activated the miracle. By feeding the blood of immortal Jack Harkness, which the organisation obtained in the 1920s in Italy, into a pole running through the centre of the Earth called the Blessing, they caused every human on Earth to become immortal. The Blessing controlled the morphic field of the planet and supposedly was what determined the genetic blueprint of the human race. This fact leads me personally to believe that it is a remnant of the technology implanted on Earth by Rassilon many millennium ago when he seeded many worlds to produce humanoid life forms. But that's just a little fan theory. Usually the Blessing broadcast the mortal template to humanity, but once the families reversed its blueprint, it sent out the immortal template within seconds, turning the human race immortal and turning Jack mortal, switching them around. As stated by Jack in a recent Big Finish audio, an alien group known as the Committee were really in control of the Three Families and thus were the ones to truly initiate the miracle. Why they do this isn't explicitly explained, at least to my knowledge, but the Families of Miracle Day aim to control the world through what they've done, so it would be reasonable to assume that the same is desired by the Committee. After months of the miracle being active, the newly formed Torchwood team consisting of Jack Harkness, Gwen Cooper, Rex Matheson and Esther Drummond were able to cancel the phenomenon by feeding mortal blood back into the Blessing at both sides of the Earth, one in Buenos Aires and the other in Shanghai. This brought death back but also seemingly made Rex immortal like Jack. To this day, the storyline of Miracle Day has never been continued directly. The impacts of the miracle upon the world were truly devastating. Insurance companies went bankrupt due to being redundant now, hospitals became nearly impossible to run effectively, the economy itself started to collapse, and, perhaps the darkest of all, the categories of life were created. Category 3 referred to anyone who was perfectly healthy and would be in no danger of dying if there was no miracle. Category 2 is the designation given to people who have suffered permanent injury but could still function, at least to a certain degree, due to the miracle. Essentially anyone who hadn't been rendered brain dead. Category 1 is anyone who is unable to function and would have normally died. Some Category 1 injuries include a suicide bomber ripped and burned to shreds but still had consciousness, Gwen's father who fell into a coma after suffering a stroke and multiple heart attacks but still lived, multiple instances of victims being shot or severely strangled to the point of basically being human vegetables, and so on. Due to a lack of alternatives, the world government set up overflow camps to deal with the increasing human population and the ever-increasing but undying injured. At the camps were giant ovens big enough to fit several dozen people in at once. Here they would place all the Category 1 patients and sometimes Category 2s as well, where they would burn them to ashes, still alive of course. This was thought to be the only way a human could die after the miracle happened. A special category was in the early works called Category 0, which was intended for convicted criminals who were issued a death sentence. People categorised as 0 were intended to be sent to the incineration modules regardless of their health or life status. Oswald Daines, for example, who was a convicted paedophile and child murderer that survived his original execution due to the miracle. Rex speculated that this category would soon become a legal way for governments to dispose of anyone they wanted rid of. There were also many other implications of the miracle that would have affected the world in catastrophic ways had the miracle not been negated by Torchwood. Birth defects that otherwise would have resulted in stillborn infants continue to occur, but now the babies would survive any and all of these defects, even the most horrible physical deformities and conditions. India's Prime Minister called a peace with Pakistan, while North Korea saw the miracle as an opportunity to build an immortal army to mobilise along the South Korean border. Tutsis in Africa began a spate of horrible physical violence against the Hutu villages in the wake of the miracle. Police were no longer allowed to accuse suspects of murder due to the crime now being impossible. Pensions were phased out due to being redundant. And there's many more, but above all, it was estimated that within a little over 4 months, Miracle Day would cause a complete environmental and social collapse of planet Earth. And with every living person now living forever, who knows how bad things would have gotten after that. Overall, this has to be one of the darkest concepts ever presented in the Doctor Who universe. And while Miracle Day doesn't have a great deal of fans, personally I liked it, it's certainly an interesting and damn terrifying thing to think about. Out of all the terrible scenarios from Torchwood or Doctor Who or whatever, this is one that I would be most scared about. But luckily this is all fiction, so we should be safe. So what do you think of me doing a Torchwood topic this time around? Leave a comment and like the video, and make sure you subscribe for more Doctor Who stuff here on A Doctor Who. Next time we'll be visiting the happy, sweet-filled streets of Terra Alpha's human colony. I hope to have your viewing in the next video. Bye for now.